All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if for its local search is city search, see if it's got BSS. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pinned post, home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Highest intent peeps on the left. These are peeps searching for both boudoir photo shoot in their city today. I focus on them and make videos about actually getting them to come to us. Here, videos about BSS. Over on the right, there's the lowest intent peeps. We talk about getting these peeps to come to us on our sister brand or sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently, over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. Both are bad. 0, extra bad. If we got 0 slots page 1, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So if we end on page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of searchers, approximately 80% of buyers, approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. Bad, extra bad. Also, 1 slot page 1, that ain't good enough anymore. That's bad as well, because guess what? There's 9 other organic slots page 1. It's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there. So everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. Not standing out, not looking special. So boudoir buyer, what they're going to do is they're just going to click down, open everyone's website, opens everyone's website up and, literally get a quote, fill out everyone's contact form, get a quote from everyone, price shop, price compare, negotiate, waste everyone's time, blah, blah, blah. And, only 10% of the time we're going to get that person to buy from us. So that other 90% of the time we're wasting it. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's not normal to have such a small few number of page 1 links on Google search. But it is accepted and it is, commonplace, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And I know this is normal because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days utilizing this new methodology we developed. Now, these 2 deeper root causes here are 1, market saturation, 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Over time, people get kind of new devices, new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and eventually people throw up their Google My Business profile, and then they now shoot boudoir, or they throw up their, website saying they now are a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers competing for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single boudoir photographer. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is new to most people. Very, very, it used to be very common to accept this. Very common to accept that, every boudoir photographer is, gets 0-1 slots page 1 on Google, and either you get it or you don't, and it's not much you can do about it. And even if you had 1 slot on page 1 on Google, well, maybe there's some market saturation, and that slot, that slot goes away, or then you go down to page 2. Well, you got to kind of hope those people leave the market, and then hope Google puts you back on page 1. So it's kind of like a learned helplessness belief, but it's not true. We've learned it's not true because again, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days. So we know the false belief page 1 equality. Now we know that it is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And yeah, dude, if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we're on page, and if we're on page 1, everyone else has got 1 slot on, all the other 9 competitors got 1 slot as well. So we're essentially invisible as well. So if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're dying fast. If we're on page 1 with 1 slot, we're dying slow. In both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer, which actually is kind of like the warning light, the red flag, the canary in the coal mine that tells us our boudoir photography business itself is actually on the path to disappearing. It's now starting down that path. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution though. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, making sure that we show up there. And what this acts like is basically like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side, the backside of these Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow up there, what it does is it, all year it's melting into streams, melting, the streams, small streams, it's flowing to small rivers, but it all eventually comes to be collected in the Amazon River. That's where all the water actually comes from. And that page one in Google search is the Amazon River, but we got to first stuff, you know, SQ methodology. We got to first saturate, do social search saturation, put the snow up there at the top of the mountain, so then all those videos, links can flow into page one in Google search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to grow during periods where the market's getting more and more saturated every day, and give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen allow people to do that is having a large, well-known brand, but that takes on average, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. AI is here. We need results. We need a opportunity ASAP. And actually, interestingly enough, SQ methodology, by my estimates, can actually help those actually build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all these other kind of standard ways of doing it, just because we're doing more volume on more surfaces and showing up in the right places way more often over time. It's kind of like a double bonus of utilizing SQ methodology. So example now. All right, so we are right now going to, let's say, we're going to Boise, Idaho. And there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Boise, Idaho. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir photography. And as a result, everyone's website's trying to rank page one on Google as much as possible. Ultra competitive. We're like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. Literally the only thing left that allows us to compete effectively is SQ methodology. So we decided to crank it to the max, like way more than average boudoir photographer would. And let's say we're taking up the first, 300 slots of social search across all the social platforms, and then that flows onto Google search. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. Well, it's 10 organic slots, per page on Google. So we're literally taking basically the first 30 pages of Google. So whenever a boudoir buyer searches for us anywhere digitally, we basically got like the first 300 slots to ourselves. So we are, basically like, we're basically the only one they can find, whether they're searching social media, they're searching Google, basically the only one they can find. So in this case, they'd have to, scroll to slot 301, or would that be on Google page 31 to find us? And so in this case, whose business is growing? Whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely only ours, because we're basically the only one that can be found by buyers. And whose boudoir photography businesses are dying, disappearing, going invisible? Well, most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers competing against us in Boise, Idaho. And so this is, kind of an ultra example of what SQ methodology, kind of the opportunity it could give to a boudoir photography business, but this is like an ultra extreme version, ultra extreme example version. Now, once treated with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more links page one Google search. And the second initial benefit we're getting is every new link we get on page one Google search, good for us. And we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. This is awesome. So we can literally control how many of our competitors are on page one of Google search are not organic by our effort in acquiring these organic Google slots. And it's good because these slots have some momentum, not infinite momentum, but they do have some momentum. Unlike Google PPC ads or any ads, that momentum goes to zero the instant you stop paying for them. And let's see. Yeah, so a lot of boudoir photographers like this, they're like kick their competitors off. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search as the minimum. More is obviously better. But that's because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot each on page one. So if we got 3, we're dominating. Everyone else has got 1. We're actually standing out, actually looking unique. And the super rare train, someone has 2. Well, we still got 3, so we're dominating them as well. So we're basically dominating in all scenarios here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution, thank the universe, SQ'd methodology. We use that to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results utilize an SQ methodology. So I actually wanted to rank for this keyword, well, I want to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I went to work purely utilizing SQ methodology. And see my results. We're going down the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 to 10 slots, Google page 1, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. Now onto the main event here. I'm going to check this boudoir photography business. I'm going to see, check its local search, check its city search, see if that BSS, yes or no. So let's see. Going to Williamstown and Defiance, Ohio. All right, Williamstown. Yeah, nice. All right, get rid of these. All right, let's see what we got. See what we got. Okay, I'm not seeing us here yet. All right, it looks like we're at 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google for local search. All right, now we're going to check city search. Let's see, go down to organic. All right, here we go. All right, so city search, we got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 5. We got 6. All right, I wonder if I switch these searches up. I wonder if Defiance is the local and the other one's the city search. But all right, so we got 6 out of 10 for this one. So that's insanely good. So let's go. So local search, Williamstown, Ohio. That one must be the city search then. We do have BSS. We got 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. We're not hitting the GBC recommend minimum 3 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. But for the local search, Defiance, Ohio, we are hitting. We do not have BSS. We got 6 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google. We're definitely meeting the GBC universe recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search. So insanely good. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done the local search for the highest intent keywords in your city that buyers would be searching, you're seeing, you've got BSS at the local level or the city level or both, or, you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search, then, so you're seeing you got BSS and you're seeing SQ'd methodology is the one solution for you, the one path forward. And, you want more slots on page 1. You also want the extra bonus of kicking out competitors from page 1, because now for approximately 80% of searchers, you won't be compared against them. The more we can kick off competitors off page 1, the better. And you want to use SQ'd methodology because the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, the false belief. You know that Google actually wants to and will give as many number 1 slots to whoever wants to put in the effort to take them. You understand market saturation, get new phones, market's getting saturated more, boudoir photographers get new camera, saturating boudoir photographers more. And you're also seeing into the future where AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. It's just going to be pushing more and more boudoir photographers into the market over time, or at least pushing more people to become boudoir photographers into the market over time because it's higher ticket. And look, everyone's got an amazing camera attached to their phone. So if you're seeing that and you realize, man, you want the initial benefits, but you also want the fortification benefits of S-cubed methodology to basically have a higher momentum wall of any new to market boudoir photographers from ranking on page one, taking those slots away from you. And so you're seeing all that. You want these kind of initial benefits. You want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer. You want to achieve boudoir search visibility because you need all those things to be the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want these extra few backend bonuses as well, which is kind of the more you successfully execute S-cubed methodology, the more we're building up kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of attached to our brand, attached to our social accounts, attached to our name, our business name, kind of building up these invisible spokes connecting to our central hub that are building up the mindshare for us in the minds of AI search. So every day we successfully execute S-cubed methodology, and those initial benefits, then the extra backend benefit of higher chance we're the only one recommended here on AI Overview, premium placement above all other options. For every day we execute S-cubed methodology correctly, and higher chance we are recommended via AI search, which is basically ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Kind of, we're building up this brain space momentum in the back end in AI's, AI brain for a higher chance they recommend us through AI search with all these platforms. Because, we'll eventually build up enough invisible thematic keyword columns connected to us, which is what AI loves. And so backend benefits with that. And also, the final backend benefit is every day we do this, we are pulling away from current boudoir photographers, building up all these initial benefits and the momentum to the future benefits, the domination of AI search. So remember last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, it recommended me 3, but I actually went and searched on my own, and there's like 60. So we're getting the initial benefits page one, kicking people off page one, so they're no longer findable. We are increasing mindshare for AI in the back end, for AI overview, Google search, and all traditional AI search recommending us as well. And we actually, the more action we take now to separate us from current competitors and future competitors, the more momentum we build up, the harder and harder it will be for anyone to catch us. Because right now my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, which means we won't be, all the competitors will be left in the dust. But conversely, if you're seeing all that, you decide you're going to be the first mover of your city. Conversely, if a competitor moves first, then we'll be making all the initial benefits and future momentum towards future benefits with them. And you'll actually have to rederive or derive for the first time your own S-cubed methodology, figure out how to do it yourself. And then you have to go execute it, which you will not be 100% confident in because you will not know if you've successfully derived it for yourself, yes or no. You'd have to equal our execution to maintain the gap of yourself and me and your competitor. And you'd actually have to outwork us by 2 or 3x to, basically close the gap, pull back the brain space momentum, those invisible thematic keyword columns from AI that's going to your competitor back to you. And dude, who's got the time? There's only 24 hours in the day. How are you going to outcompete us when I invented this? So if you want all that, then shoot me a DM. You want to be the first mover in your city? Shoot me a DM when my DM's open for new patient intake. My DMs are currently not open for new patient intake. But when I do open my DMs for new patient intake, send me a message and we'll see if you qualify to use S cubed methodology in your business.